So yeah, today we are going to be coordinating Ethereum. So Pari, thank you so much for the great roadmap talk. And you could see the crazy long-term roadmap there with a bunch of items going through the years. So I'm going to talk about more what do we actually need to do to get there, or how do we do all of this core development to be able to produce all this stuff at a scale and with zero downtime and completely decentralized way, hopefully. I'm gonna be quick, don't have as much time, and there's a lot of things to cover. But just a bit of a background why we even do this, or why we have these properties that we have in the network itself, and the way that we develop it, we coordinate development. Because everything comes from the background of the cypherpunk dream of digital cash, right? Like some of these early attempts in 90s, this community trying to build actually something internet native, something that cannot be controlled by a single entity. And turned out not to be that easy. I mean, until Bitcoin and the Nakamoto consensus, and Ethereum is taking this, I believe, into a completely different level by having not just a digital cash, but completely open and permissionless platform for all kinds of use cases, all kinds of contracts and programs that people can run. So the idea is to build a network that is not biased towards a single use case, but has more neutral, open nature to it. So we, as a core developers, we don't dictate what is the use case. We try to make it build the basic building blocks, the primitives that people can use to then create their own standards and so on. So that's the way that we build Ethereum, to enable more freedom, I believe, to give people more power to be, their own bank, not to be worried about other banks, to be able to whatever coordinate, collaborate much more efficiently without some third parties. And that means that we need to do that on the level of development of the protocol itself. So it's not always that easy, because we make the process a bit hard for us. There is not a single team that would just decide, like when they say, oh, core developers, Ethereum core developers, that is just these three guys and Pari telling them what to do, right? Like that's how you imagine the team, but it's much more complex. There is not a single team of Ethereum core developers. It's many independent teams, and altogether more than 200 people, I would say, collaborating on pushing these Ethereum upgrades and maintaining the protocol. So these are all different teams from different organizations. Some of them come from Ethereum Foundation, but most of them are actually outside from different companies, different organizations running these teams, running this development. And there is no top-down control. There is no single entity that would dictate what needs to be done. So no single point of failures. The idea is to have everything in public, basically. Again, more FOSS native, completely open, completely decentralized. So everything that's happening, again, like this crazy stuff that Pari was showing, there is like so many ideas what to develop and how to do it. The process is completely open in every step, in the way that the proposal is being born, it's being implemented, it's being tested. Everything is happening completely openly. There is nothing critical behind the closed doors. Everything is accessible to all of us. And this needs to be done, of course, with the utmost precision and security and very good testing process in mind, because while the security is critical, we are playing with real money here, with like a lot of money. Actually, the network is running like billions, hundreds of billions of dollars, less these days, but still it's a lot. And the most important thing is like to keep it running, to have zero downtime. We see blockchains that just get stuck at some point, right? We don't want to be that. We want to provide the maximum uptime and security for our users on the protocol level, of course. Like you can see many DeFi hacks and so on, right? Because some user opted in to some contract, some protocol, and it's a responsibility of that DeFi developer, that contract, to make it secure. Our responsibility as core developers is to make everything secure, right? The whole platform. So it's a big task. And of course, we need to do all of this in the limitations of blockchain itself. Blockchain is kind of inefficient, right? It's like a very slow database. It's just annoying how many scalability problems we have and so on, because we adhere to these fundamental limitations, these features that actually keep the network decentralized. We don't sacrifice the lowest common denominator computer. We always want to let everyone to be able to verify everything that's happening in the network, and that fundamentally limits us, but it allows us much more, the actual neutrality and decentralization. And this results in many different solutions. Ethereum spans, networking, databases, virtual machines, this cryptography, different domains for the computer science, which also makes it interesting, but well, challenging to coordinate experts from many different areas and find creative solutions in all these different areas that need to come together. So that's like overview of the process. Maybe to look at it a bit more specifically, the in practice, the Ethereum protocol is like coordination of all these different entities. Like, it's not a single one, of course. So there are some EF researchers that is probably like the frontier of the research. Most of these ideas that Pari was describing in the future of Ethereum, the roadmap, most of it, not all of it, but big part of it comes from the EF research. So Ethereum Foundation is not employing many of the actual developers, but mostly these people who are like thinking about the future, right? But also some security and testing people that create initiatives and harnesses to test the all of these upgrades. So Pari, again, he was one of these people doing the actual testing and the infrastructure behind test nets and being able to run this. There is a community input to this process. Everybody can come and voice like what they need for their sort of use case, right? And for core developers to consider it. This everything is in public thanks to some standard processes and the EIP process that we have. So that's also like a community of EIP editors and Ethereum CAD herders, and this sort of community managing the bureaucracy around it. And finally, I would say the beating heart is actually the execution and consensus clients, the actual implementation. So when I ask you guys, what is Ethereum? You might say like, oh, Ethereum is a network, is the future, whatever. I think the most tangible part of Ethereum are the execution consensus clients, the nodes that you run, the actual software that you do to do Ethereum, right? That's how you do Ethereum, EL and CL. And there is many of them. What do we achieve with this approach of having different independent teams is client diversity. We don't rely on a single client, on a single implementation, on a single team or a single person, and not single point of failure. There is a diversity. So the Ethereum comes in two parts. It's actually, Ethereum is sort of like a Frankenstein of two networks connected. I'm not sure if you know about that. Well, that's how it works. There's a consensus layer and the execution layer. The execution layer is implemented in these and even more clients in Get, Nethermind, Besu. So they are different teams. The first one is from Ethereum Foundation. The other ones are completely independent from, again, different teams, different organizations. And they are implemented in Go, in .NET, in Java, in C++, in Rust, right? So many different languages. So again, if somebody comes and wants to contribute to Ethereum, no matter their background, they can be expert in different languages. They can come. This is Prism, Lighthouse, Teku, Nimbus, and Lodestar. Again, consensus clients. This is the consensus layer, the other side of Ethereum. So we have like 5 plus some experimental EL client plus 5 plus some experimental CL clients. So that's Go, Rust, Java, Nim. They also have a EL client and TypeScript client with Zig being used now as well. So like, again, many different languages. So if there is, for example, a bug in one of the libraries, it doesn't affect all the clients because it's a Go library, not a Rust library, and so on. So this diversity enables us to have more talent, more developers from different backgrounds. It enables us to have, none of these clients are run by Ethereum Foundation. Again, it's completely in the ecosystem. It's something that's out there in the wild, basically. But it means that all of these clients need to be able to talk to each other and come in agreement, consensus, what to ship. And that happens in this roughly sketched process. Everything starts with idea, right? All the ideas for new features, for improvements to Ethereum start as some research or something that comes up that needs to be done. The research is the crucial part where you need to analyze this and benchmark it and prototype it and figure out whether it actually works or what is the best way to make it work. And based on that, you specify it. So the EIPs actually serve partially as like some initial specs, and that becomes part of the specification of the whole network. Based on that, it gets implemented in all these different clients, right, across like I don't know, 10 different pieces of code bases need to be touched or more to be able to implement it. Then it needs to be tested. That's one of the most and very crucial part, because having different clients in different languages to talk to each other, perfectly agree on everything, on the consensus in milliseconds, making sure that there is nothing going wrong, that's very crucial, because otherwise the network would go barely up. And finally, that's how you get to mainnet, or you don't, because you get rejected and you need to go back. So like the Ethereum process, the development process, as much as open and nice it is, sometimes you need to take a step back. Sometimes you realize in your research phase that the idea is not as good. Sometimes you realize that the specs are not going to work that way. And sometimes your idea gets rejected completely and you need to start all the way from the beginning. If you guys heard about EOF, for example, or a bunch of things that have been worked on for years and then rejected, it happens as well. But it's important because this work also shows us maybe, you know, the paths which are not the way, not just the way, but also exploring different things. So yeah, that's pretty much how it works in practice. Like I could talk about like, oh, you draft an EIP, you go to the ACD, and I'm gonna get to that. But like, again, this whole process is open and you can follow it by yourself. You can start following it today. Actually, maybe there is a call today as well, because all of these coordination calls of developers, all the discussions are happening in public. And probably the best way to follow it is Forkcast. So on the forkcast.org, you can see all the current hard forks and their EIPs and their process. You can see what's being developed right now, what is in the next hard fork, and at the same time, you see all the current calls. There is an overview of all the, so here are the current hard forks. You see how we progress in Glumster, Damhegota. If you click on it, you see all the EIPs that are recently updated, and there are also the current calls and their summaries. So if you don't want to listen to the whole thing, you can just see a transcript. And we have a question, I think, no? Okay, why not?
You said something before about Ethereum needs to be verifiable. So and you now mentioned if research will be open, etc., which is not true. I was censored by Virgil. I'm not allowed to talk about quantum social physics in research. That's one point. And the verifiable point, when is the Ethereum Foundation itself going to be on-chain and verifiable? Like, are we going to see this ever?
So again, so first you were censored on ETH research. That was one question. And the second was about EF being verifiable?
Yes, the EF itself, Ethereum needs to be verifiable. So I'm asking myself, when is the organization itself going to be on-chain verifiable?
Okay, so that's a different kind of forums. So yeah, let me start with, so yeah, we have different forums. There is the Ethereum Research, Ethereum Magicians. So if you were censored in the research, I'm very sorry about that. There is a lot of spam and a lot of things being censored because especially today in the age of AI, I deal with the people coming in, and sometimes I'm the one now in the protocol fellowship actually have to filter through all of this. So what I don't mean to say that you were spam. I'm saying sometimes it's really hard to recognize what is a genuine proposal, and that's something that comes later.
Virgil, it was a while ago then.
No, like 2 weeks ago or something.
Since he got out of prison.
Fuck me, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay, I'm surprised that he even has an access to this, but it's okay. We can chat about it in private, I guess. The ETH research allows anybody to create posts, which means also AI bots and also many things that again needs to be filtered. Sometimes it's hard to distinguish. But yeah, I don't know. Like I see people right now getting to the core development. We have some people here. from the fellowship, from like the completely fresh core developers who are creating posts there right now. And I don't think that the main problem is censorship, honestly. I think the main problem there is to just ignore it. That there is so much noise and so many things happening. Again, that's another downside of this open process, because there is so many EIPs, so many proposals, so many ideas. Nobody gets time to read through all of them. So people are kind of scoped in their own domain, in their own ideas and projects, and they don't have time to look further than that. So even if you come to one of these forums and have a good idea, sadly, it can be often just ignored. And you need to do the work of pushing it, to coming to the calls, to coming to these events. Is exactly the kind of place to be able to start ideas and discussions. So publicly, this is as much public as you can get, having the forums and the repos in public. But otherwise, you need to be able to push your ideas. The calls, again, you can join all of them. They are being coordinated in the project management repo, in the Ethereum/PM, where there is bunch of the calls being announced in the issues, and these calls are happening like every week. There is a ton of them. So first of all, the ACD is the main one. All core devs, as the name says, all core devs are coming together to talk about execution, about consensus bi-weekly. So 1 week is execution, the next week is consensus, and that's like the main call every Thursday. So you can just watch a stream on YouTube, or you can watch the recording, read the summary, and if you have something to contribute, if you want to share your idea, you can actually just join the call. The other calls are also breakouts on specific topics. So if we have like some specific EIP or implementation problem, that's something that has dedicated calls throughout the week as well. And yeah, the altogether we have like 5+ calls weekly, but mostly like 1 or 2 are the most important ones that you want to follow. The rough consensus is the way that we actually deal with these ideas. So like when we have some proposal, some research post that gets turned into an EIP, and that gets presented on the ACD, and the ACD now deliberates and they argue about it back and forth, sometimes for a short time, sometimes for weeks, but it takes so long because sort of everybody needs to be on board, or nobody needs to be against it. We need to have this rough consensus. So like everybody needs to be in sort of agreement to do this. There is no voting mechanism. There is no like, we count people pro or against, but there needs to be some form of consensus. This is how it looks like. You can join the call, and sometimes we even meet in person. Again, like at these events, you can meet but the core developers even here and share your ideas. And I believe it has many benefits, the way that we do this. We bring people from all over the world. So right now we are starting cohort 7 of Protocol Fellowship, which is maybe more structured way how to get people to become core developers. And we have people from everywhere, from Asia, from Africa, from India, and a couple from Europe and US, but like all over the world basically. So you get the best people, or the people who are interested in Ethereum from everywhere, right? And this lets you to have more diverse background, to be more neutral, but also iterate faster and have like more knowledge compounded in the ecosystem. People with different expertise being able to wait on like these multidisciplinary problems. So I think it's amazing that we have this diverse and strong core community. There is no other blockchain that would have this. I think the similar projects would be large scale, like Linux kernel sort of project, right? Like these sort of large-scale free open source project, but it's also a problem. It's also, again, I already mentioned a bunch of stuff here, like spam that's coming, or a bunch of like things that people need to deal with, or just miscommunication. And even the client diversity, it's a strength, but it also poses a lot of overhead, because testing, let's say we have 5 or 6 clients, it's like, it should be more actually, but like that's 25, 30, 36 combinations of clients that you need to test. So we are talking about a number of combinations that your laptop needs to run if you want to test the whole network, right? Or at least like one client of each. Then the rough consensus, as nice as idyllic it is, it doesn't always work. As I mentioned, sometimes it takes weeks to deliberate something, sometimes after months of back and forth and trying to prioritize the features. We don't agree on the priorities, and even some interesting features get scrapped after some feedback. So like There are many examples of that, and yeah, all of this being done in this like a little bit high stressed environment, like very critical environment where we need the security at scale. We need to be able to test everything very thoroughly. I'm speaking for 20 minutes already, and it should be 10 minutes. So I think I'm all over. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. But if you want to chat, please stop me later. I'm here around. If you are interested in the core development process, I'm here for you. If you're coming to Prague, we have a hackerspace there, Bottle WTF. You can visit. And thank you so much. I'm from Protocol Support. Sorry about taking so long, guys. Yeah.
Thank you.